Good afternoon, YouTube. I am Tyler Fikes. Welcome to the channel. If you guys are new to the channel, make sure to hit the subscribe button. Today, we are going to be installing what is hopefully the final part on my FE501 Husqvarna. This is 2017. If you guys are new to the channel, there is a playlist down below that has every video pertaining to this bike on the channel. So go check that out if you like the bike, you want to see anything more on it or any other how-tos. We've got a lot of those brewing on that playlist. And an oil change will be the next video on this bike because it is coming due that it needs an oil change, and I'm going to make this how-to video on how to change the oil on a FE501. And I'm sure it's going to be the same on the 350, and I'm sure it's going to be the same on almost every other dirt bike. A lot of these are configured in the same exact way. Dirt bikes, whether it's Suzuki, Husqvarna, KTM, Gas, Kawasaki, they all have their own little differences, but they're all very similar and they're all dirt bikes at the end of the day. So anyways, today we're going to be installing this Mojo Bling kit, as they call it, in anodized blue, just to match everything else that I've done anodized blue to the bike and just the blue husky color overall. So first thing is first, we're going to open this bad boy up. So now that you got that open, I guess the next step is to figure out where all of these 15 pieces go. Because in all honesty with you, I am not 100% sure. I know these go on the back axle. I know those go on the tires. I know where that goes. The rest, I'm gonna have to figure out. So we are here figuring it out together today. I saved this video for last on the playlist because I figured this would be the least self-explanatory and the most in-depth how-to. So first things first, I obviously know how to do these, so I'm gonna do these. First step, find your stock valve stem cover and remove. Now, if you want to get fancy, you can grease your new ones. I'm not going to. Throw the new one on. Now, I'm not going to make you watch all this. I am going to do the back, and we're going to be back to the table to find the next part to put on. Next, I would like to figure out where these go. I honestly am not too sure, so I'm going to look around, figure it out, and let you know. And contrary to what I just thought, these are not going to be going on my bike. These are for if I have a different style that. So I guess this is for if I have a tube in there, and this is for if I have tubeless, I think, because I'm not finding anywhere to put it, and that is the little knowledge I just found from my short YouTube exploration. So these ones are going to sit over here with the stock parts for now. And save them for one day, maybe. Next up is this guy. It's pretty obvious where that goes. So keeping the bike as level as possible, we are gonna take this off and put this one on. Now I'm gonna read this instruction first. Now I'm not sure if the filter cap is something in here or not, so we're gonna take this off carefully, and if there's any filter kind of thing, I'll let you know, and we're gonna clean it up and put it back. So you got your brake fluid in there. Take this guy off, it has this on it. You're going to put that back onto the new one because this is the gasket that makes it not leak out the fluid. And then use the stock bolts, don't lose those. Put it back together and there you have it. Once the new one is on, give it a quick wipe down because a little bit of fluid is bound to come out on your hands and on the new seal and everything. So just clean that up before you proceed. And on to the next part, working with what I know. I know that is one of the three things like that we were replacing. Like that, I mean this. So I'm going to open it up, see which one has the same threads and the same gaskets, and it should be pretty easy to figure out which is which. So first thing, take this one off, get a little on your finger and throw a little bit of oil on the bead of this as well. You always want to do that, but just get a little on your finger and rub it on the bead just so it doesn't dry out and crack. You know, take it out of there if you have to. Just get it slightly lubricated, and then you throw that guy on there. I think I'm gonna take a smooth face wrench to that and just give it the tiniest little snug. We will just, boom, boom, you can feel it. You can feel when it doesn't wanna go anymore. So just get it like that, and there you have it. One more part done. Now I am almost certain that this is this. So we're gonna use the same testing method and figure that one out. So I pulled this one out, had to have a second set of hands come record because I'm holding the bike slightly vertical. Again, you want this as level as possible. Pulled this one out, and sure enough, they're the same threads, same washer up top. This is a little different, not sure what this is, but it's rubber. I'm gonna leave it out. If you know what it is in the comments, feel free to tell me. Anyways, I'm gonna put this on, and again, with a smooth-faced wrench after you get it hand tight, give it a snug, and you will feel when it doesn't want to go anymore. Do not force it any further than it needs to go. You'll feel it kind of bottom out, or not bottom out, but hit a limit it doesn't want to go past. And just like that, it is tight, and we are on to finding the next part. Same thing up here. You're gonna replace that one that was in my hand with that one right there. That is the bolt that goes up by the handlebars. Not sure what it's called, but that's where that goes. So now we are left with the axle blocks. I am honestly not sure how to do these, and I know they mess with the alignment, so I am going to figure out how to do that with some quick research, and I will get right back to you with a how-to. So for this step, you're gonna wanna get the bike up on stands, the dog being extra loud and annoying, playing with something over there out of the way, talking to it. You're gonna need a screwdriver, and I am just gonna show you guys the video that I found that made it very easy, because this is a little bit of a complicated step. Anyways, I'm gonna get this done and show you guys the step-by-step process of how to do it. And that was the most labor-intensive part of the day, getting this bad boy on. So you wanna make sure that you have these lined up, use those little ticks to get them lined up to the same spot, and make sure you have enough chain slack. So I looked in my book, it's 55 to 58 millimeters for mine, so I put it right at 55 because that looks pretty slack to me, but that's what it says to spec. So I'm gonna go with it, and it looks super good. Bike project is pretty much done. There is one last little blue anodized part that I found that I can get, and it is right there. So when I do my oil change, I will also be replacing that part, because once I open that up, oil starts coming out. So I'm gonna save it for the oil change. But the bike looks killer. And now to show you guys how to actually install that, because it was a bit of a trick, we're gonna go over to the computer, and I'm gonna show you guys the video that we used to get this done.
First, you want to take out all of the stock hardware, including the axle nut, the axle, the chain blocks, the chain adjuster screws, and their jam nuts. Install our new chain blocks. On the brake side, take the chain block assembly, remove the black cap to expose the thread loop, insert the assembly into the swing arm pocket, and begin to thread it in. You want to thread it all the way in until you come to your approximate adjustment for your axle. On the sprocket side, I'm going to install the chain adjuster screw only. Check the block fitment, key it into the screw to make sure you're at your approximate adjustment. Now to remove the axle from the chain block, the easiest way to do this is in a lathe. Chuck it in the lathe, hold the lathe brake, and spin the old block off of the axle using the same method to install the new axle. If you don't have access to a lathe, you can also do this in a vise. Wrap the chain blocks in a rag to protect them from damage in the jaws. Now take the square nut that was supplied in the package and spin it all the way down on the nut side of the axle until it reaches the bottom of the threads. Taking the axle nut, spin this all the way down until it touches the square nut. With this nut assembly installed, you can use a crescent wrench on the square nut and your axle wrench on the KTM nut and jam these two together. Go ahead and use quite a bit of force, as a square nut is softer material than the KTM parts and it won't damage them. While holding the nuts jammed, you can then spin them counterclockwise to loosen the axle from the chain block. Be sure to apply thread lock to the axle before installing your new axle block. Using the same method of holding the nuts jammed, you can spin the axle clockwise to tighten the axle to the chain block. When you're finished, place the crescent wrench on the bench, loosen the nut from the axle, and remove the nut assembly. Now your axle is ready to install on the motorcycle. Install the axle and key it into the chain adjuster screw. Replace your axle nut, but don't tighten it yet. You can now adjust your chain by turning the 10mm hexes on the chain adjuster screws. When you turn these, it will slide the axle blocks forward or back, giving you a precise adjustment. Found the proper adjustment, tighten the axle nut, and you're ready to go ride.
And now once you do that, you're gonna ride just like this, I promise.
Alright, so that does it for the Bling kit. I didn't see any other videos actually showing how to install the Mojo Bling kit. So hopefully this helps somebody. If it did, make sure to give it a thumbs up. I really appreciate it. And the bike is pretty much done. So I will have more videos with this bike on the channel. I got a new helmet and I'm going to put a GoPro mount on it and hopefully get some cool riding videos. There are definitely some cool roads around where I live. Get some cool POV footage on the bike and just, you know, riding it around town. And as I get better, hopefully some cool stuff will come of that for the channel. And like I said, anything related to this bike on my channel will be in that playlist down below. So hopefully it will be forever growing. The next video that I'm sure of that will come out on this bike is the oil change. Like I said, that'll be the last blue anodized part to put on the bike. And I will show how to do an oil change on this bike, and like I said, it's pretty similar across all dirt bike platforms. So if you watch that oil change video, you'll pretty much be able to figure out how to do an oil change on any other dirt bike. But we are a couple hundred miles of riding away from the oil change, and it is rainy outside, so I'm not sure how quickly that video will come out, but that will be the next video on the dirt bike. Anyways, thank you all for watching, and until next time, see you guys later.